Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1795B, and today's date is February 19th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Barr and Placeholders Activated, Social Media Blackout, Think Presidential Emergency Alert System. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about the deep state. We know they continually push their goals, and we know there is a threat of this new caravan which is amassing in Central America, and it's headed up to our border. And the deep state, we know that they try every trick in the book to scare the American people. They might even black out social media. They might black out cities to get their point across. And one of the best things you can invest in for your home and for your protection is a Patriot flashlight. Now, this flashlight is solar powered, so you're never going to waste money on batteries again. It is very powerful. It's 500 lumens. You can see miles away. It has emergency strobe light. It has a USB port so you can charge your phone. It has a compass, rope, wire cutter. It even has a glass breaking hammer and a siren to ward off individuals. Patriot flashlight is the perfect gift for you and your family. Limited supply lasts, and this is the very last chance to get yours at a discount before they sell out. Take advantage now and give yourself the gift of protection. Go to patriotflashlight.com, use the promo code X20, and get 20% off the Patriot flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, it is not going well for the deep state, and they're trying to control the narrative, and Q has been telling us that they're trying to make it seem like, well, what happened with McCabe, with Comey and the rest, it was isolated to the Department of Justice and FBI, but we know better. We know that this went much, much further than that, all the way up to the Obama administration. And we can see that everything that they tried to do to control the narrative with Russian collusion, with the investigations into Trump, it is all coming to an end. And they are in a deep panic. We're seeing from Q right now that everything is going active. Everything has been activated. And we are now in the process of moving forward with indictments, arrests, the declassification, and everything like that. And we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. But first, I wanted to go to Jussie Smollett, and it looks like things are getting worse and worse for Jussie. Investigators now suspect that the Nigerian brothers, now, first of all, the Nigerian brothers, they're saying, hey, listen, we're not Nigerian. We're born in the USA. But those individuals who were paid by Jussie Smollett to take part in the faked attack are also behind the suspicious letter sent to Smollett early in January. Now, CBS Local reported the following. Smollett received a letter containing white powder January 22nd. The letter was mailed to Chicago's Sin Space Studios, where the show Empire is filmed. The letter prompted a hazmat response. CBT says the white substance was later determined to be aspirin. The note was crafted with letters apparently cut out from magazines to form words. The pieced together messages contained racial and homophobic threats directed at Smollett. A magazine is one of the pieces of evidence retrieved from the brothers' home last week during a search conducted by CPD. Investigators also recovered a book of stamps. When asked about the letter in a televised interview last week, Smollett said, on the letter, it had a stick figure hanging from a tree with a gun pointing toward it. It also had MAGA, reference to Trump's campaign slogan, Make America Great Again, written as the return address. The whole thing was staged, and the letter was not getting the traction they wanted, so they took it to the next level. So, right now, this hate crime was a complete fake, phony, false attack. Now, we've seen this before, and the mainstream media reports on these type of attacks like they're real. Let's go back in time a little bit. Now, days before Election Day, an African-American church in Mississippi was torched in an arson attack. The words, "Vote Trump," were written on the building. A local police investigation determined a member of the church had staged the attack. A Malden, Massachusetts man said in November 2016, 2 white men threatened to lynch him and told him it was Trump country now. The story was debunked by police. Days after the election, An Asian female student at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis said she was verbally harassed by a white man who told her to go back to Asia. She said she fought him off, then was put in handcuffs by police officers who came to the scene. Well, the police said they have no record of any of this. There's no such incident. That same month, a Muslim student at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette claimed 2 white Trump supporters violently assaulted her, took her hijab off her head, and robbed her. The story was later deemed untrue. In 2017, a female student at St. Olaf College in Minnesota reported finding a note on her car windshield that contained a threatening message. Police said later that she made up the story. After an immigrant-owned business in Charlotte in April 2017, investigators found a note that stated, "Trump is our nation builder for white America." Police later arrested a black man named Curtis Flournoy for this crime. The same year, a black male student at Kansas State University said his car was vandalized with racist messages. The school canceled classes and protests erupted on campus. The alleged victim, Dorntarius Williams, later admitted he vandalized his own car and staged the incident. Last September, a black woman from Long Island, New York, said a Trump supporter verbally confronted her, and she later found her car tire had been slashed and a note on the car that read, "Go home." She later admitted to making up the story. Following the Pittsburgh synagogue massacre in late October, someone vandalized a Brooklyn synagogue with Nazi slogans. The suspect was later identified as a gay black man who had worked with the city council on anti-hate campaign. In November, Goucher College found graffiti on campus of that contained Ku Klux Klan and Nazi marks, as well as the names of black students. A black student was eventually found to be responsible. So the mainstream media continually reports on all these things, and many times they don't say that these are fake. And most of these, actually all the ones that I read to you, they have turned out to be fake. The same thing with Jussie Smollett. Now, what's very interesting, Donald Trump Jr. was on Instagram, and he posted that he doesn't believe the attacks on Jussie Smollett are real. He believes they were staged. Instagram immediately told him to delete his post or they would suspend his account. So he went ahead and he deleted his posts. We come to find out that Donald Trump Jr. was absolutely right. The whole thing was staged. So what does Instagram say now? Instagram says, "Oh, this was an error. We removed these. We told them to remove them, and it was a mistake. We don't know how this happened." They know exactly how this happened. They thought it was real. They thought he was pushing conspiracy, and they blocked him. It turns out that he was telling the truth, and everyone else was lying. And this is the problem with people controlling what you see. The people, guess what? They can think for themselves. The people can determine if it's real or fake. Let them do the research. We don't need a ministry of truth. Now, McCabe, he is in some hot water. He is going down. And the deep state is trying to make us just look at McCabe and most likely Comey. That's it, because they want the FBI, Department of Justice, isolated. Tom Fitton tweeted the following: "Big, struck page doc show more collusion to protect Hillary Clinton, voter fraud crisis, thousands of aliens illegally voting, plus at real Donald Trump is first president in 70 years to take a border security seriously." Mark Meadows tweeted the following: "Andy McCabe's interview last night only furthered what anyone who has been truly investigating already knew. Senior intel officials were bent on retaliating against Trump for personal reasons, and they were willing to throw out any rule or break any protocol to do it." Trump chimed in and tweeted the following: "Remember this, Andrew McCabe didn't go to the bathroom without the approval of Leakin James Comey. He continued, "The witch hunt, in time, likely will become recognized as the greatest scandal in American political history, marking the first occasion in which the U.S. government bureaucrats sought to overturn an election, presidential, Victor Davis Hanson, and got caught at Fox News." Now, Q has told us in the past that there are going to be carpet bombs that are dropped, and these carpet bombs were to wake up the American people. This is why Q is out there, this is why the alternative media is out there, and this is why Trump continually pushes letting the public know what's going on. Now, even though most of the mainstream media would not like to repeat his tweets, they use his tweets maybe to make fun of him, but he doesn't care as long as the message gets out there. And even if they're countering his argument is based on facts. Theirs are based on propaganda. So when the D class comes, guess who's going to be holding all the fact cards? Trump, the Patriots. Now, Judicial Watch, they announced today it received 215 pages of records from the U.S. Department of Justice revealing former FBI General Counsel James Baker discussed the investigation of Clinton-related emails on Anthony Weiner's laptop with Clinton's lawyer, David Kendall. Baker then forwarded the conversation to his FBI colleagues. The documents also further describe a previously reported quid pro quo from the Obama State Department offering the FBI more legal attaché positions if it would downgrade a redaction in an email found during the Hillary Clinton email investigation from classified to something else. All records of communications, including but not limited to emails, text messages, and instant chats between FBI official Peter Strzok and FBI attorney Lisa Page, were captured. All travel requests, travel authorizations, travel vouchers, and expense reports of Peter Strzok have been captured by Judicial Watch. All travel requests, travel authorizations, travel vouchers, and expense reports of Lisa Page have been captured by Judicial Watch. On October 28, 2016, the day that Comey sent a letter to Congress regarding the FBI's discovery that the Weiner laptop contained Clinton's emails, Hillary Clinton's personal lawyer, David Kendall, within hours, emails Baker requesting a call ASAP about the Comey letter. The emails show that a conference call for the above senior officials was set up for the next day by Peter Strzok. 2 days before the election on November 6, Comey sent a second letter reporting that the FBI's review of the Weiner laptop material would not change his conclusion that Hillary Clinton should not be prosecuted. Judicial Watch has all the evidence of what took place and how they tried to stop this and how they made it possible not to prosecute Hillary Clinton. The truth is coming out now. As Q would say, this can't be stopped. Now, today we see there was a video of RBG, and this was out of TMZ. And you can see her shuffling through the airport. Her head is held up high, and she's wearing a brown jacket with a scarf, black pants, and shoes. Now, what's very interesting, Annan started to look at this and said, wow, this is very interesting, because a picture going back April 2018 shows that RBG had a very difficult time raising her head up. The other thing which was very interesting, is that she's wearing the same jacket, the same exact scarf, the same exact pants, and the same exact shoes. So in April 2018, she has the exact same outfit on as the individual in the February 2019 video. Now, I'm not saying this isn't or is RBG. We're just saying that this is very suspicious. We also need to understand that there were ads placed in Craigslist looking for a duplicate. Now, I'm not saying that this really isn't RBG, but it seems that she can walk now with her head completely straight up, and she's wearing the same exact outfit from almost a year ago, which is kind of strange. Now, Trump took a swipe at California, and remember, Q is continually telling us to look at California. Trump went after California's Trouble High-Speed Rail project, claiming it's a lot more expensive than the wall. He tweeted out the following: "The failed fast train project in California, where the cost overruns are becoming world record setting, is hundreds of times more expensive than the desperately needed wall." And remember, Q told us that there are a group of families that run California and they siphon off a lot of the money. I wonder where a lot of this money has gone. Well, Trump was exactly right when he said once he declared national emergency, he was going to be sued. His administration was going to be sued. And that's exactly what had happened. 6 states filed lawsuits challenging Trump border emergency. And the states are California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Michigan, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Virginia. And what's very interesting about all of these states, they're all Democratic governors. And a lot of these states are the states that Q pointed out to us yesterday where Clinton won. So this is very interesting. But again, this is not going to stop the wall from being built. Remember when we spoke last time, national emergency funds are just a portion of the wall. Trump has about $5 billion extra to start the wall and keep the wall going, while this plays out in the court system. And you know what's going to happen. It will reach the Supreme Court. Trump will win the ruling. Now, Trump was in Miami. He was giving a speech, and he called out Maduro, saying he was a Cuban puppet, and he also condemned socialism in a speech aimed at, I believe, the elite in this country. And Trump was out there, and he was giving the speech saying that to those who would try to impose socialism on the United States, America will never be a socialist country. And I do believe this was directed to all those individuals that are pushing socialism in this country. Now, out in Haiti, we understand there's unrest there. We know that access has been closed off. And we know that the Clintons ran their operation in Haiti, where they weren't really giving their money to charity. A lot of it was for getting children in this country. But a very bizarre story has emerged that there were individuals, 5 heavily armed Americans, that have been arrested and are being detained by the Haitian government. They were caught in possession of automatic weapons, pistols, satellite phones, and drones. Among the group were 3 others, including 2 other foreign nationals, a Serbian and a Russian, and 1 Haitian. Now, these are paid contractors that were in Haiti. Now, was this a cleanup mission? Were these individuals sent by the Clintons, by the deep state? Don't know as of yet, but this is very, very interesting. We see that Washington and Baghdad, they agreed to withdraw the U.S. troops from Syria into Iraq. And they're going to say that this is going to happen around the 1st of April. So there are already plans to withdraw the troops from Syria. And the Iraqis are saying, no problem, they can come over the border and move into Iraq. Let's get into some of Q's posts. Post 2793. Q says, chatter uptick, RE, how to effectively prevent crosstalk, RE, anti-narrative across all social media online platforms. Ability to prevent crosstalk narrows comms only to fake news, which provides for more control over what is released to inform the public. A series of scenarios is currently being conducted. This is in brackets and it's bold. Game the system to test response, risk, and calculate results. Censorship, and this is in bold and brackets, added layers of inserted code through keyword targeting in bio, history, and comments, plus individual platform mods, has failed to curtail the problem. China, Russia, Iran fake takedown hacks of select platforms for maintenance is one scenario being gameplayed. This is in brackets in bold. 0 day. Countermeasures in place. Example. This is in bold and brackets. Example. Think emergency alert system. Think White House-controlled new RT News website. Think White House-controlled new video stream platform. Think here. Should this occur, immediate steps will be taken to classify each as public utility, essential public services to gain appropriate government regulation control. Why do we make things public? To bring it out into the open, so the public can control it. So big tech is testing scenarios to prevent anti-narrative crosstalk across social media platforms. So the deep state is in process of trying to regain the narrative. How do they do this? Censorship, social media blackout. Why? They can't allow the truth to be revealed. They can't have the public waking up. If the public is awake, they can't put it back to sleep. This is their biggest fear. Q is telling us they have countermeasures, emergency alert system, new RT new website, new video stream platform. If they push censorship, Q says they will classify the platforms as public utilities. Q has warned us about blackouts in past posts. If we go back to post 61, this is back November 2nd, 2017. As discussed, we've anticipated Twitter and other social media blackouts. Rogue agents, programmers. They were going to blame it on rogue agents and programmers. Post 2298. Twitter has been given the green light to blanket censor all content deemed to threaten their survival. Election. Google, Facebook will follow. Expect comms blackout attempt, POTUS Twitter. Rogue employee excuse. Welcome to the police state. Post 2168. Q gives us a link to 8chan. Patriot Fight. Says main points of interest only. It will serve as the main hub of all communications once all other sites tracking collapse. 8chan only. Letting us know that 8chan, if all else fails, this will be the place you get your information. Post 2794. Annan created a graphic and showed how the London drops went down, showing how Q pointed this out and how future proves past. So this graphic shows Lisa Page, Peter Strzok in London, and shows how Q was surveilling these individuals do what they do best, their covert operations. So under this, it says, this was a great proof. Annans are months ahead of the news. Q says, the Corinthia Hotel. So Q let us know that the meeting was the Corinthia Hotel, but we knew this already from past posts. Post 2795. And Annan asks a question. They are getting super desperate. Q responded with a link to NewsGuard Tech. Now let me read a little bit what NewsGuard is if you don't know what it is. It says restoring trust and accountability. NewsGuard uses journalism to fight false news, misinformation, and disinformation. Our trained analysts, who are experienced journalists, research online news brands to help readers and viewers know which ones are trying to do legitimate journalism and which are not. This product is going to protect from fake news. So don't worry. We will tell you which is true and which is fake. You don't have to think. You don't have to use logical thinking. You don't have to question anything. This is a deep state product. They're trying to control the narrative. This is a little extension plugin that goes onto your browser, and it gives you a little green check mark if everything's A-OK. I mean, let's take one example. Jussie Smollett. NewsGuard said this was a true story because it was on all the mainstream media outlets, but it turned out to be fake. So what happened to these journalists who were supposed to research all this? Well, it looks like it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. The deep state controls it. And Q says, yes, they are. And he answered the question, they are getting super desperate. They created this thing, and I believe Microsoft created this, to show you what was real and what was fake. So they are becoming very, very desperate here. Post 2796. And Annan put up a map of the area surrounding the Corinthia Hotel. The arrow shows the traffic camera that is used to track Page and Strzok while in London. And under this it says, right next to where the traffic cam pics were taken. Let's move on to post 2787. Q then gives us original pictures of the hotel. One in the day, one in the night. And Q is showing us, yes, we have control over these traffic cams. Post 2798. put everything from 2797 and gave us one more photo at night of the hotel, and it looks like this one is either from a car or from across the street. Move on to post 2799. Annan says, I did a search using TinEye and found 0 results. Now, TinEye is a website that you can put the image URL into the box, and it will search to see if this image was used before. And then you can sort it and say, okay, listen, this image was used back in 2018, so this is not an original image. Google does the same thing. If you look up at the top right-hand corner, you'll see a little camera that says image, and you can do the same thing, but I find TinEye to be a lot better. Q says, always 0 results. What does that tell you? That the pictures that Q is continually giving us, they are original. Let's move on to post 2800. And Annan points out the camera that is used to watch the hotel, to watch Struck, to watch Page, and shows a picture, circles the camera, and says this is the view that the camera is picking up. Post 2801. Q says pick a network, any network, search QAnon. Now, Q did all the legwork for us and gave us links to a lot of the mainstream media outlets, and already hooked in the search for QAnon. And if you click on any of them, it shows you how many articles they have of QAnon. And one of them I clicked on was Washington Post, and that had many all about QAnon. They're about how it's a conspiracy theory and things like that. So all these mainstream media sites show QAnon articles and how Q is a conspiracy. So if Q is a nobody and he's a conspiracy, why bother with all these articles? Why should the mainstream media care? Because if it's a conspiracy, who gives a crap? They wouldn't care. They would only care if Q is real and the truth is being pushed out into the public domain. This is the only reason you would write all these articles out there about Q. If it's true and they're trying to control the narrative of QAnon to make people look away, but it's not working. Let's move on to post 2802. Q put up the previous post of 2681, and it gives us the countdown, 30, 45, 60, 90. And it says blockade removal, Rod Rosenstein removal, goodbye, number 1 oversight of Mueller, or removal 1 through 4 removal, Barr installed. So what we've come to learn is that Rod Rosenstein will be leaving in mid-March. So from this point to mid-March is about 30 days. So is Q talking about that the time clock has started and Rod Rosenstein is now removed and Barr is now in? Could be. So let's read what Q wrote under this. Timeline attached. What has since occurred? Well, we know Barr was installed. Rod Rosenstein, he'll be leaving, or left. The other people that were in the batter's box, they were removed. And the Clinton blockade is completely gone. Future proves past, track and update, think calendar. Post 2803, Q put up, look for placeholder updates at Patriot Fight. Indictments, arrest, and declass will force worldwide coverage. Leaks, bribery, collusion, RE media will force resignations, will follow up criminal prosecutions. We now have Attorney General Barr in place. Q is letting us know that we can expect action from the Department of Justice. These will sync with the placeholders that Q set up. He's telling us to look at these on Patriots Fight. Once this begins, we will see worldwide news coverage, indictments, arrests, and prosecutions, etc. Will the mainstream media try to spin this? Absolutely. Will we see resignations? Absolutely. Post 2804. Q put everything up from post 2803 and said, first placeholders, this is in brackets in bold, OIG report, D-class, other release facts, RE 18 U.S. Code, Chapter 115, treason, sedition, subversive activities. This brings me back to the Annan who put up the order in which the entire operation is going to go down. The placeholders are from the bottom up, and we reported on this yesterday. The OIG report, then the D class, then FISA, 5I, moving up. So, 18 U.S. Code, Chapter 115, Treason, Sedition, and Subversive Activities. There are many subsections to this. It's treason, misprision of treason, rebellion or insurrection, seditious conspiracy, advocating overthrow of a government, registration of certain organizations, activities affecting armed forces generally, activities affecting armed forces during war, recruiting for service against the United States, enlistment to serve against the United States. You think any of these fit? Yeah, they do. Post 2805. Q put up everything from 2804, gave us a Twitter link to Comey. Comey likes to talk in code. And this is Comey's tweet. Every time you assault and stereotype a person, you've ripped the social fabric. Every time you see that person deeply and make him or her feel known, you've woven it. David Brooks, 218 New York Times, is right that we all need to be weavers if we are to heal our beloved country. Q says, drop, put you on notice. Direction to bunker down. Stop talking or risk being assaulted. A woven, elaborate nest will not save or protect you, nor will the CIA further provide you with actionable intelligence. Cold on the outside, traitors' justice. Q. So the deep state, they watch the boards. Comey watches the board. Q acknowledges that Comey tweeted when the drop was made. The tweet is a coded message to all other traitors. According to Q, the deep state is trying to isolate this coup to the FBI, Department of Justice. So Comey and McCabe, they must stay quiet and take the blame. If they start to speak out and point fingers at other people, well, they'll be 187'd, which means they'll be killed. They are now on the outside, and it's cold out there. Post 2806. Q gave us the picture of all these individuals behind bars. And it says, now that Russia collusion is a proven lie, when do the trials for treason begin? Now, what's very interesting is that Mil-Spec Ops Monkey took the file name of this photo and did a search, and it came up with WikiLeaks and Clinton emails. Now, people are getting different results. Some of them are Clinton email to Jake Sullivan and Huma. Others are getting Iran nuclear deal. But it looks like it might be tied into, and Q might be letting us know, that this all has to do with the Clinton emails when he's showing us this picture of all these individuals behind bars. Let's move on to post 2807. This is in brackets in bold. Topic, taxpayer theft. Insider versus outsider. Retain control versus lose control. Kennedy was an outsider. He was assassinated. This is in brackets in bold, the word assassinated. Reagan was an outsider. This is in brackets in bold, assassination attempt. POTUS is an outsider. This is in brackets in bold and caps, classification high. What this tells us is that there's been attempts, but the details are highly classified. So an Annan said, well, let's look at what happened here. We can see there were many attempts on POTUS for those who may not be aware. Poison in UK, nuclear missile launch from sub, nut jobs jumping over the White House fence, rogue SS agent with unauthorized gun, death device planted in Oval Office, LV attack might be on that list, 16 events so far, I read somewhere, and likely other attempts not reported. The deep state isn't out of ammo yet. So it looks like in the past, they've tried many, many times. Q continued and said, how much money cash was sent by the Fed to Iraq war, then gave us the link to The Guardian, Reuters, CNBC, and it was billions. How much money cash was confiscated from the Iraq Central Bank? So if you look at The Guardian, it says the U.S. sent $12 billion in cash to Iraq, and watched it vanish. If you look at Reuters, it says U.S. sent pallets of cash to Baghdad. If you look at CNBC, it says New York Fed's $40 billion Iraqi money trail. If you look at Fox News, U.S. paid Iran $1.3 billion 2 days after $400 million cash transfer. So it looks like there was a lot of cash that was sent out to Iraq and then sent to Iran. Let's continue. How much money, cash, was confiscated from the Iraq Central Bank? None. Example, not intended for public awareness. If it worked in Iraq, why not replicate it in Iran? How much money, cash, was sent to Iran? Well, we know Obama sent $1 to $3 billion. Who controls the distribution of funds? Who accounts for the funds? Who has access to the funds? Who really has access to the funds? Do funds return in the form of political donations? Yes. So the Obama administration, the deep state, they have control over all these funds. They return back to these individuals, and they are used for different purposes. One of them is to get elected, and it's most likely sent to their foundations. Do funds return in the form of massive donations to foundations and or institutes? Yes. Do funds return in the form of offshore bank accounts for future payments payoffs? Yes. Replicate, Environment, Green, Aid, Assist, etc. All these different organizations, they are working with the deep state, the elite, to funnel the money. No honest control in place, no checks and balances in place, no safeguards in place, threat of an outsider becoming president, loss of control. Q then gives us a link to the YouTube video where Trump is speaking, saying he's going to get rid of the deep state. Trillions of dollars at stake, controlled by group of special interests. Illusion of democracy. Welcome to the real world. That's in brackets and all bold. We cannot afford to lose this rare opportunity to right the wrongs. We the people must reclaim what is rightfully ours. We must rise. We must fight. God bless the United States of America. Post 2808. Q gives us a link to YouTube, and it says, an Annan put together a small sample of Q proofs, and that's what this video is about. Q says, thank you, Patriot. Moving on to post 2809. Gave us a Twitter link to NBC News. And this states, new exclusive Trump admin launches global campaign to end the criminalization of homosexuality in dozens of nations where it is still illegal to be gay. And Q says, but fake news pushes the narrative that POTUS is homophobic. No, he is not. This is fake news. Hashtag wake up, America. Q. Why would Trump be pushing this individual out to all these countries to help the situation? Again, the mainstream media has been pushing fake information. Post 2810. Q is referring back to that video of Q proofs. Says, start from the beginning. Small sampling of proofs. Patriots in control. You are the news now. Q. Post 2811. An Annan response to the previous post, or should I say shill, and this individual said, in control of what? Nothing. That's what. Q then put up a link to military and shows the military, planes and others doing things in the military, and says, are you ready, shill? Survival of the fittest. Q. And there's a lot of shills on these 8chan boards, and they continually post and post and post, and most of them are absolutely ridiculous to try to get people away from the Q boards. I think they make more and more people come to the Q boards because they want to prove them wrong. Post 2812 is a picture of Trump at his inauguration. The crowd is there, and it says, we are Q. As you can see, we are getting ready to go live. One thing we need to watch is that the deep state, they're getting ready to shut down anyone that tries to push the truth. Q is telling us they have countermeasures in place to combat this. So once the truth starts coming out, you're going to see many articles. You're going to see the mainstream media going crazy trying to spin this in a completely different way. You also might see a lot of channels go down at the same time trying to censor all these people. Actually, YouTube just changed how they give strikes to channels, and we'll have to see how that goes moving forward. We also know that Twitter, Instagram, and the rest, they have no problem, and Facebook, they have no problem bringing down or deleting posts at will. I mean, we saw it with Donald Trump Jr., where Instagram said, listen, we're getting rid of this, and then they pretend it's a mistake. So you're going to see a lot of posts where people try to post, or maybe their accounts become suspended when they're trying to tell the truth. But don't worry, the message will get out there, and we have all different ways of getting this message out there. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.